Well, good evening to you. Great thanks for joining us. Welcome to Prime Edition. Tonight, in the course of reducing the backlog of cases in the Court of Appeal and the Lands and Environment Court, President William Ruto has appointed 6 judges who were left out in the appointment last year by outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta, or former President Uhuru Kenyatta. The 6 judges have taken their oath of office today, which obviously is a shot in the arm in terms of boosting judiciary efforts to end the backlog of cases in that institution.
Now, being the 14th of September 2022, Kenyans are anxious, not even that EPRA is yet to release the monthly fuel review prices. We will be keeping tabs on that in the course of this particular broadcast. Good evening once again.
And of course, also tonight, some details as regards the first foreign policy engagement by President William Ruto, the cessation of the recognition of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. And obviously that will mean then that the diplomatic engagements of Sahrawi will be winded up in the Republic of Kenya. This despite the president of that republic attending the inauguration of President William Ruto yesterday. We have details lined up for you tonight. Here are the highlights.
I, Muchelule Agri Otsiula,
Judge of the Court of Appeal, do swear
and to impartially do justice in accordance with this Constitution.
I will at all times, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, protect, administer, and defend this Constitution
without any fear, favor, bias.
So help me God.
Day 1 in office. President William Ruto swears in 6 judges whose appointments have been pending for over a year. In school for food. Drought pushes the elderly in Kajiado South to beg for food meant for students. And new sheriffs in town. Mombasa and Kakamega counties all set for the swearing in of governors.
Good evening. You are watching a Prime Edition on KBC Channel 1. I am Regina Manyara.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Baron Abuli. To start us off, the 6 judges appointed by President William Ruto on Tuesday have been sworn in today at State House, Nairobi.
President Ruto said his government will support the independence of the judiciary. The head of state also asked the judiciary to be at the forefront in ensuring timely adjudication of cases of corruption and land ownership.
Nancy Okware has that report.
Wednesday afternoon at State House, Nairobi. After waiting for more than 1 year, the 6 judges appointed by President William Ruto on Tuesday were finally sworn into office by the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Ann Amadi. 4 of the judges, Agri Muchelule, Weldon Korir Kipyegon, Joel Mwaura Ngugi and George Odunga, taking oath of office to serve at the Court of Appeal.
I, Odunga George Vincent,
Judge of the Court of Appeal,
and to impartially do justice in accordance with this Constitution,
and promoting fairness, independence, competence, and integrity within it.
Evans Makori Kiago and Judith Omange Chiriot, on the other hand, took oath of office as judges of the Environment and Lands Court.
Without any fear, favor, bias.
So help me God.
The 6 judges were nominated by the Judicial Service Commission along 34 others, but were rejected by former President Uhuru Kenyatta in June 2021 over what he termed as integrity concerns. President Ruto, who signed an executive order for the appointment on Tuesday, soon after being sworn in, reiterated his government's support for the judiciary's independence and dispensation of justice.
Kenya can only be better if we become a country of the rule of law. Any other route leads to anarchy and confusion. We are all equal before the law and before our Constitution. Even as president, I have limitations, and I should respect those limitations. and all other arms of government have their limitations, it is the rule of law, not the rule of man.
He has also called upon the judiciary to fast-track completion of graft and land ownership cases so as to attract investors.
Investors can have more confidence in our country if we can dispense justice in a timely manner.
Swearing in of the 6 judges by President William Ruto marks the beginning of what he has termed as positive reforms in the judicial system, geared towards making it more independent and hence efficient. Nancy Okware, reporting from State House, Nairobi.
And of course, you remember the first High Court decision that impugned the BBI process was presided over by Judge Joel Ngugi as well as Judge George Odunga. There were some of the 2 judges involved in that 5-judge bench. Let's have a closer look into the profiles of its judges. Regina is on the other side of the studio. Regina.
Indeed, these are the 6 judges that were nominated by the Judicial Service Commission alongside 34 others, but were rejected by former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's get to meet who they are. We'll start off with the judge there, Justice Evans Makori. He took oath of office today, and he is going to be serving as a judge of judges of the Environmental Court. He started his journey in as far as matters of law are concerned between 1990 and 1994, when he studied law at the University of Nairobi, all the way to 2010 when he became a senior principal magistrate for 2 months. That is Justice Evans Makori. Now, from 2010 all the way to 2012 and 2013, he became the Deputy Registrar at the Environment and Land Courts in Milimani, Nairobi, and currently he took one of the 6 judges appointed by the President William Ruto today. He's going to be serving at the Environment Court there. Now let's meet the second. This is Justice George Odunga, quite a familiar name, especially in the airwaves there, as my colleague has just rightfully mentioned. When it came to the journey of the BBI and such, that was he was adversely mentioned during that particular litigation issue. Born in the 1960s in Western Kenya, he joined the University of Nairobi in 1991, and by 2011 he had joined the judiciary, working at the Milimani courts before he was moved to Machakos. Justice Odunga now in 2017 challenged the legality of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on county election manager and determined that they were illegally in office just 1 day to the August 8th polls. The decision was overturned, however, by the Court of Appeal. Let's meet this. This is just part of his CV, so to speak, that has already been highlighted by my colleague John Jacob Kioria there, and he was instrumental when it comes to the matters of BBI initiative, where he was among the judges who stopped the BBI initiative, so to speak. Let's meet our 3rd judge, and this is Justice Joel Mourangoge. In 2011, he joined the judiciary, and he was a presiding judge of Nakuru High Court until appointment to the Court of Appeal. Now, between that is 2011, but he has practiced law from the late 90s, looking that he started practicing law 1996, 1998 to the Karaoke Maigwa and Company firm. Let's meet the 4th. This is Justice Agre Muchelule. In 1982, he served as a district magistrate and has rose through the ranks in as far to resident magistrate, senior resident magistrate, principal magistrate, senior principal magistrate, and on. Quite an industrious career when it comes to matters of judicial matters. He was a presiding judge of the family court in Milimani Law Courts. That is Justice Agre Muchelule. Let's meet our 5th, The lady among the 6, the only lady so to speak, this is Justice Elizabeth Omange. In 2000, she started her judicial career as a senior resident magistrate and served as a principal deputy registrar, as well as principal magistrate, principal deputy registrar, and senior principal magistrate. Now, between 2012 and 2022, she served as the registrar of the High Court. Last but not least, so to speak, is Justice Weldon Korir Kipyegon. In 1991, he worked as an assistant administrator, and he has also risen through the ranks, and his elevation to the Court of Appeal was turned down by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember, the 6 who took oath of office today, ushering, or rather with the new administration under Dr. William Ruto, who is the president, were among 40 judges who had been appointed by the JSC but were left out when the others actually took oath of office. There are 34. And that is just but the list of the 6 judges who have taken oath. 4 of the judges that include Agre Muchelule, Morangoge, George Odunga, and Weldon Korir. They took oath of office to serve as the Court of the Appeal, while 2, Evans Makori Kiago, Judith Omange Cheriot, will be serving as judges of the Environment and Lands Court, respectively. To you, Kioria.
President William Ruto tasked them, particularly the 2 judges dealing with the land division, to ensure there's prioritization on commercial cases for the attraction of investors who want to invest their monies in Kenya. Let's fly over to Mombasa. And preparations for the swearing in of the county governor slated for Thursday, September 15, are complete. The chairman of the transition committee, Job Tumbo, said 6 million shillings has gone into the event to be held at the Mama Ngina Waterfront Park. 6,000 people are expected at that event.
According to the chairman of the Mombasa Transition Committee, Joab Tumbo, preparations for the swearing-in of the incoming governor started on July 10th, 2022, a month before general elections, as per constitutional requirements. Tumbo added that security has been heightened at the venue as the committee expects thousands of residents and dignitaries to attend.
Kamati hii, kazi yake si kufanya swearing-in peke yake hapa kesho. Kuna kazi nyingi sana ambazo zinaendelea huko nyuma. Mojawapo ilikuwa ni kuandaa hizo ripoti ambazo umezizungumzia. Ni ripoti ambazo ni za kiserikali, zinagusia masuala ya wafanyikazi, ni wangapi, ni vipi, kila department iko vipi, rasilimali ya serikali, magari, manyumba, mambo yote yale, madeni yote yale, accounts za serikali ziko ngapi, ushanielewa. Kwa hivyo hilo ni jambo ambalo ni majukumu makubwa kabisa ya kamati hii, kuhakikisha kwamba kila kitu ambacho kilidhibitiwa na serikali inaondoka iko handed over.
Judge George Dulo and other judicial officials are expected to officiate the swearing-in ceremony. Both Mombasa and Kakamega gubernatorial elections were postponed twice as a result of ballot paper mix-up. The other 45 governors were sworn in on August 25th, 2022. Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition, Mombasa County.
Of course, the governor was elected on an ODM ticket after postponed elections. Who is Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir?
And indeed, we are going to be answering that question, and where all eyes are going to be focused on Mombasa tomorrow at the waterfront. These are the number of votes that he garnered: 119,083 in the suspended elections. They are quite contested. They're quite a key county, and we saw a push and pull between Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio camp, but he came out on top. This is just a brief of his illustrious career in as far as matters of politics are concerned. In 2017, he was re-elected to represent Mvita constituency and served as the chairman of the Public Investment Committee at the National Assembly. And also, the governor-elect in Mombasa that he has succeeded is none other than Hassan Joho, who has finished his 2 terms. We'll be speaking more about Mombasa County tomorrow as eyes remain focused on Mombasa and Kakamega. But for now, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back with more.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya jogging kwa simu yako, bonyeza *811 star 758 hash.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Mr. Kipto.
Now I want to try the composition using the word jogging.
Teacher, please give us spelling for the word jogging.
Sijasema jog ile jog ya kunyongwa. Hapana. Ninasema jogging. Na sijasema jog ile nye unasema jog ya kukimbia ya marathon. Ama ile jog ingine ile jog ya television ya kucheka. Sijasema hiyo jogging. Na maanisha jogging your brain ile kukimbiza akili ya changamoto. That's the composition using the word jogging.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii bonyeza star 811 star 758 hash star 811 star 758 hash.
All I do is win. I wake up, I win. I close my eyes and I win.
We get a emergency, girlfriend.
Keep up with me, come on, let's go. Keep running till the world stops spinning. Independent women, come on, now let's get it. I'ma keep running till the world stops.
Wow, you look great. Did you just come from the salon?
Darling Abuja, babes that stay salon fresh no matter what.
In line with its mandate, the Council of Governors will be conducting a 3-day induction workshop for governors and deputy governors from 14th to 17th September 2022 at Pride in Paradise, Mombasa. The induction seeks to build capacity of the newly elected county leadership and to sensitize county officials in the functions of the county governments, apprise them of the achievements and challenges as well as emerging issues affecting optimal functioning of county government. It is envisaged that the induction will facilitate a smooth transition, stability and continued service delivery across the 47 counties. Tune in to KBC Channel 1 for the live broadcast.
The swearing-in ceremonies are in Mombasa and Kakamega, and in that county, it will spend 8 million shillings on the swearing-in ceremony of the new governor, Fernandez Barasa, slated for Thursday at Bohongo Stadium. The chairperson of the Assumption of Office Committee, James Ochami, said the ceremony will take place at Bohongo Stadium, and obviously preparations are ready.
Kakamega County Governor-elect Fernandez Barasa will take oath of office on Thursday after he was elected the county boss during the August 29th elections. The Assumption of Office Committee Chair James Ochami said preparations are complete.
All logistics are in place, starting from, like I've said, representatives coming from the 12 sub-counties and also from other places in this country. We have facilitated them. Then we'll have a sitting here. This stadium should be able to accommodate as many as possible, including the other guests that will come on board.
Wananchi wote wanahimizwa wale watakuwa wanaingia kwa sherehe ya kesho kufika mapema, kwa sababu tutakuwa na security checks kabla waingie, na ili kuhakikishia kila mmoja atakayehudhuria usalama wake.
While addressing members of the press at Bohongo Stadium, Ochami said the swearing-in ceremony will cost the county 8 million shillings.
Baadaye tutakuwa na mlo kwa mchana. Hiyo mlo itafanyika pale golf kwa wale ambapo wataweza kukuja hapo na wale ambao wamekuwa invited. Nikisema hivyo sio, tumepatiwa pia kiwango ambacho tunaweza tumia kutoka control of budget kwa kiwango cha milioni 8 peke yake.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission had postponed the gubernatorial elections in Kakamega after discrepancies were found in the ballot papers.
To declare Fernandez Odinga Barasa as duly elected governor of Kakamega County.
Barasa, who contested on an ODM ticket, garnered 192,929 votes, trouncing his opponent Cleophas Malala of ANC, who got 159,508 during the August 29th elections. Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
And of course, you remember there were some very controversial remarks made by his deputy, that is Ayub Savula, that theirs is a co-shared governorship. He's not a deputy, but a co-governor. But who is Fernandez Odinga Barras? Regina?
Good question there. In politics, we do not have either permanent enemies or friends, so to speak. So co-governor, but that's a conversation for another day. Now let's get to meet the governor-elect in Kakamega there. He's a fellow of the Chartered Professional Accountants, as well as he holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree and a Masters of Business Administration in Finance from Kenyatta University. He served as the Treasury Manager and later Head of Factories Accounts at the Kenya Tea Development Agency. Further on, Fernandez Barras, in 2022, August 30th, he was elected governor. And we have already heard about the numbers. So all eyes are focused tomorrow at the Bukungu Stadium there with the county. They're spending 8 million for that particular swearing-in ceremony. And even the organizing committee commenting and saying that there'll be plenty for those who are invited to witness this momentous occasion in change of administration in Kakamega. To you, Kioria.
All right, that's just Kakamega, and our eyes are all focused on Kakamega and Mombasa. We have our teams ready in Mombasa and Kakamega as the two governors take their oath of office to serve for the next 5 years as the governors of the specific counties. Back in Nairobi, a Milimani Anti-Corruption Court has admitted 5 mutual legal assistance evidence documents obtained from Swiss authorities in relation to the 3.5 billion Anglo Leasing graft case hearing and struck out 1 document that had double marking. Or delivering the ruling, Magistrate Felix Kombo also gave the defense team up to Friday, the 16th, to prepare to jointly cross-examine the last prosecution witness, an investigating officer from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
It's a painful prosecution in the 3.5 billion shillings Anglo Leasing case that has dragged in court for decades, as the court admitted 5 mutual legal assistance evidence documents obtained from Swiss authorities to be used in the ongoing hearing, with 1 being left out for having double markings. In the case, businessmen Rashmi and Deepa Kamani, as well as former government officials Joseph Magare, Joseph Onyonka and Dave Mwangi are facing charges of conspiracy to defraud the government of 3.5 billion shillings in the Anglo Leasing contract for modernization of police security equipment and accessories. With the last prosecution witness, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission investigating officer Ignatius Wekesa having testified, Anti-Corruption Magistrate Felix Kombo granted the defense team up to Friday the 16th of September 2022 to prepare to jointly cross-examine the investigating officer.
We usually start from 10. Is there any proposal to change that? 10 is okay? So cross-exam from 10, 16 September 2022 from 10.
The case against the businessmen and former government officials has dragged in court for about 17 years. Seraphin Nairobi for Prime Edition.
Now, from the corridors of justice to a pursuit of justice, police officers from Dayeseb County in Limuru constituency, Kiambu County, are investigating an incident where a middle-aged man was allegedly shot dead outside his gate in Ngamba village. Confirming the incident, Dayeseb County Police Commander said Daniel Mushiri, aged 40, was confronted by 2 men seen on the CCTV footage of his gate at around 1 a.m. on Wednesday and allegedly shot 3 times before they escaped using a waiting vehicle.
Ndia Sub-County Police Commander Mary Nyolmo said investigations have started and detectives will conduct a forensic scrutiny of the footage to try to identify the culprits.
There was no such report until the time we went to the scene. At the scene there is a CCTV footage which has been taken by forensic experts, and investigations are at advanced stage.
According to Isaiah Githaiga, an uncle of the victim, they had a confrontation and gunshots and later found Daniel Mushiri unconsciously inside his car.
Walichukua simu peke yake ndio walienda nayo. Hawakuingia hapa kwa mboma
walimalizia maneno yote hapo kwa gate.
They quickly rushed him to Kikuyu Mission Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Residents decry the increasing rate of insecurity in the area and have called on security apparatus to intervene.
Sasa tunaomba serikali ijue vile itatufanyia, ituletee polisi karibu. Judicial ni bali na huku na Rudhegete ni bali na huku.
Haya mambo yaendewe ndani kabisa, chini, kina. Tujue kiini ya hii maneno ni nini, na hao wenye kufanya hiyo kitendo washikwe na wakabiliane na sheria.
Elsewhere, Somba Mood has engulfed Mukango Village, Lurambi constituency, Kakamega County, after the body of a Form 2 student from Manyara Secondary School was found on the roadside.
Asa kuja asubuhi nikapata amelala, kuna place hapo vya amelala, nikaenda confirm anakaa aje. By the time nifike nikapata ni kama ana breathe hiyo ya mwisho.
It is believed that the deceased, Griffith Shanguya, age 17, was murdered by a family member after he was allegedly involved in the theft of 4 kilograms of maize, a radio and a phone.
By the time nikikuja alikuwa amefura humu na miguu na kwa mdomo huko amefura.
Nikamuuliza unasikiaje? Akaniambia nasikia vibaya na pumsi inafanya nini? Pumsi inaisha. Nikamuuliza ulilala wapi? Akaniambia nililala pale hivyo. Nikamuuliza ulifika pale aje? Akaniambia aliroll. Na nikamuuliza asubuhi nini nimekufanya tena? Akaniambia wamerudi tena. Wamefanya namna gani? Wamenichapa.
Timothy Kipnoso for Prime Edition.
You're still in Kakamega. Do you remember Muliro Gardens? Yes, that Muliro Gardens. Muliro Gardens in Kakamega County has finally opened its doors to the general public after months of closure for renovations. The renovated gardens, situated at the at the heart of Kakamega town, is not only offering a relaxing atmosphere to residents, but also business opportunities for residents.
Muliro Gardens, designated as a National Museum site in 2002, made headlines on social media in 2011 following shocking photos of couples making out at the park. Well, the park has been on a journey of rewriting its history following the county government's decision to give it a new face. The beautified Muliro Gardens will now be monitored by county askaris. Business is booming, photographers and hawkers reaping big over the weekends.
Tunafurahi kaunti yetu ya Kakamega kutupatia nafasi. Kama personal mimi mwenyewe yani nilianza kutumia ya mtu, alafu kisha nikiwekaga kidogo na nawekeza kidogo mpaka nikanua yangu.
Wengi ni wanafunzi na wanafunzi watoboki, wanafunzi watoi pesa. Wanategemea wazazi na wazazi wanasema maisha imekuwa ngumu kwao.
Request being made to the county government to install lighting to enable a 24-hour economy.
But hiyo renovation imetusaidia sana. I think it was by the county government na imetusaidia sana now, like the place is just any iko cool sana. It allows even me kama photographer kufanya my creativity.
For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
Now from Muliro Gardens, let's head to the British Kingdom, so to speak, the United Kingdom, where the body of Queen Elizabeth is now lying in state in Westminster Hall. Thousands of mourners are expected to file past her coffin in the coming days. The coffin carrying the late monarch's body was brought in a procession from Buckingham Palace as King Charles III and his sons, Princes William and Harry, walked behind. Huge crowds have assembled along the route of the procession in central London as people hope to get a glimpse of the Queen's coffin during today's short somber journey. King Charles III and his sons Prince William and Prince Harry followed the Queen's gun carriage on foot. The Queen's other children, Princess Andrew and Edward, and Princess Anne, also walked behind the cortege. Members of the armed forces and the Queen's staff were at the front of the coffin. On arrival at Westminster Hall, a short service was held where Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby said a prayer and the choir proceeded with song. The Queen's coffin is now officially under watch on all sides. Members of the public are allowed to file past and pay their last respects.
The Queen will lie in state until Monday 19, 2022, the day of her funeral, which has been declared a bank holiday across the United Kingdom. For Prime Edition, I'm Joanne Wangari.
In terms of seniority, you should call me ma'am.
Ali calls you mother, but I call you mom.
That's great! Mother's finally coming home! We're finally a family again! Aren't you excited? It's her!
You know the princess too?
I've met her before, but I don't know her very well.
Your father may not want to be disturbed right now.
But if we don't hurry up and stop them, my father will be stolen away by Princess Eileen.
Wewe uone hizi kelele zako ndo zinafanya mtoto anaumia au mpaka Dr. Zero akwambie ndo uelewe?
Sitaki kumwona kesi nyumbani kwangu. Period.
It's going to be okay very soon. We'll be happy, I promise.
Not too soon. Hapa kuna furaha.
Mimi ananihusu hiyo kahindi.
Don't you think I deserve this?
But you're spending too much, Zari.
Dr. Zero, she says she wants to help me.
Your manners.
Ni aje tiri.
Speak up.
Wajohi ya merara.
Mbona leo kuna furaha hivyo? I'm just tired of being mad at everyone around me.
I can see you making us breakfast.
If me being in the country and back in your lives doesn't surprise you, then nothing I do ever will.
Who died? Whiskey.
Your mom has refused to age.
Yaani nyinyi kuispapa ni kama mnasengenya watu. Hiyo ndio kazi mwaleta
Len is not around.
Hello, my dear.
Sitaki kusikia umekuja hapa na pombe.
Inakuwa kwa mwili.
A very good evening to you. Time now to get into the business news. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, news reaching our desk that Kenya Airways have announced the death of a passenger aboard the KQ612. It was set to depart for Mombasa at 7 p.m. this evening. According to the report by Kenya Airways, the passenger was pronounced dead by medical personnel at JKIA while the aircraft was still on the ground. This is the third death reported by KQ in the recent months aboard a plane. Now, KQ says it conveys deepest condolences to the family and friends of the deceased during this difficult time. Of course, we shall be giving you details as they come. Now to our top story. The Kenya Tea Development Agency has received 3.7 billion shillings from the National Treasury to offset the cost of the subsidized fertilizer. The agency says it will be distributing the commodity to the farmers at a cost of 3,500 shillings, with the Treasury topping up 2,117 shillings. KTDA Chair David Ichoho says the agency is expecting another fertilizer shipment from Russia next week, carrying 940,000 bags to be supplied to tea farmers in the country.
In the last 5 months, the government has spent about 5.7 billion shillings in subsidizing the cost of fertilizer after the price of the commodity rose to a record high of 7,000 shillings, making it way too expensive for most farmers to afford during the planting season. Early this year, the Ministry of Agriculture told Parliament that it needed 30 billion shillings to lower the price of the chemical to 2,800 shillings.
We would require a total of that 1 billion. 851,916,000 if we were to take those prices that prevailed at some point in time.
However, the subsidy program has been beset by logistical and financial challenges, throwing it into a disarray. Yesterday, during his inauguration speech, President William Ruto said the government will realign the subsidy program and inject more funds to reach more farmers and boost maize production to 40 million bags.
Therefore, is to make fertilizer, good quality seed, and other agricultural inputs affordable and available.
Already, Kenya Tea Development Agency has received 3.7 billion shillings from the National Treasury to help lower the price of fertilizer to 3,500 shillings per 50 kg bag. KTDA says that it purchased the commodity at 5,617 per bag from the Russian market. Treasury is expected to top up the rest of 2,117 to make the chemical affordable to tea farmers. KTDA Chair David Ichoho says the agency expects the second consignment totaling to 940,000 bags or 47,000 metric tons to dock at the port of Mombasa next week. The Ministry of Agriculture is expected to issue more guidelines in the coming weeks on the importation of more subsidized fertilizer and seedlings as promised by President Ruto yesterday. Benson Guber reporting for Prime Edition.
And the National Treasury is pushing for green financing policies and streamlining the digital finance subsector. National Treasury Principal Secretary Dr. Julius Muya says there are options for banks to diversify their climate portfolio, and embracing fintech solutions on the same would ensure a wider market reach.
According to the Kenya Banking Industry Report by the Kenya Bankers Association, over 80% of commercial banks in Kenya have aligned their credit policies with sustainable lending practices within the last 1 year. The report further reveals that lenders still lack awareness on the implications climate risk and internal green practice policies would have on banking practices.
Even having pronounced Kenya as a regional financial services center, that is in the same spirit of making sure that we've got a strong financial services sector which is able to attract deposits from depositors, attract international finance, and be able to intermediate that finance so that it is channeled to projects that are useful and important for our country.
And anchor the banking sector's development on evidence from research and analytics in areas we consider critical in enhancing the industry's contribution to economic growth and development.
According to the National Treasury, it is essential for commercial banks to adopt lending practices that seek to address long-standing climate-related concerns and risks. Dr. Muya says green finance should be accorded more attention by the financial service sector and entrench sustainability in their lending and business operations.
Strongly believe that it's out of a candid engagement with the stakeholders, underpinned by rigorous analysis, that we can mine robust ideas supportive of the financial sector's growth and development aspirations.
That area today to do with the fintechs and how to make sure that we exploit technology is one area where, in terms of policy, in terms of regulations, is an area with a lot of focus, and I know there are draft papers already that have been prepared through a lot of consultation, chaired and spearheaded by the State Department for the National Treasury.
Bankers believe stakeholder engagement is necessary to facilitate a systematic shift in the industry that pushes for a countrywide green policy adoption strategy.
And as a last appeal, banking sector players are being told to reach for green financing, and maybe they can hit the climatic change needs and profits at the same time. Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Hibak Said, for that report. Now, hospitality industry players in Kilifi County are upbeat over the resumption of tourist activities following the smooth political transition. They are also calling for resumption of chartered flights to the region to bolster the industry ahead of the Christmas festivities.
Kilifi town is renowned for its resort town character, where tourism is a significant economic activity for the town, which hosts beach hotels, holiday homes and water sports events. Kilifi town houses ancient monuments such as the ruins of the 14th century slave trading settlement and a reptile rescue park which offers further visitor attractions. However, tourist activities declined following the global travel restrictions owing to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are so happy as Italian community, as stakeholders, that the election ended peacefully, and so we are ready now to have tourism back. We are expecting more people on December. Already one charter from Italy started in August, and we are expecting 4 to 5 weekly charters in December.
Hospitality industry players are banking on the smooth political transition to boost travel to the town by resumption of chartered flights.
Talking again about the Malindi International Airport to have direct flights here. So we are confident that Mungaro will solve these problems that we have since years.
So the collaboration is there, because the biggest problem that we have challenge is always bringing everybody on board.
Tourism is reportedly the main economic activity in Kilifi town, although it is not as popular a destination as Malindi or Watamu.
Wetu tuambia karibuni Malindi. Malindi ni mahali mzuri, tuko na beach safi, tuko na mahali hapa seafront wayona, mahali pa watoto, tuko na bahari Sardinia, tuko na Savo, alhamdulillah.
Ni uchaguzi ukipita vizuri utafunguka na wageni watakuja, maana wageni wakija ndo sisi tunapatia hapo risk yetu.
Pre-COVID, Kilifi County could host an approximate 50,000 tourists and visitors monthly.
And Kenya Bureau of Standards is urging millers to comply with the national fortification regulations used for monitoring of fortified foods to establish and implement internal quality assurance systems. KEB says establishment of dynamic quality assurance inspection and laboratory infrastructure has led to efficient and timely address of barriers, resulting to gradual and sustained compliance levels which stand at 50% for maize and 60% for wheat.
Food fortification is addition of vitamins and minerals in commonly consumed staple foods to make the food a superior source of these micronutrients. Kenya has made great strides in food fortification and has developed standards for fortification of maize flour, wheat flour, edible fats, oils and sugar. Food fortification has been widely identified as a cost-effective strategy for addressing malnutrition at scale. To ensure Kenyan households continue to access nutritious meals, Kenya Bureau of Standards is urging millers, partners, all refineries to comply with the set standards used for monitoring of fortified foods to establish and implement internal quality assurance systems, improving their compliance level.
These efforts, among others, have enabled smooth implementation of the program as well as efficient and timely address of any barriers, resulting to gradual and sustained compliance levels, which stands at 50% for maize flour, and my statistics on wheat is over 60%.
To this end, TechnoServe, a non-government organization, has launched the Technical Assistant Accelerator Program, which aims at increasing the levels and variety of fortified foods. The program will, among others, provide technical assistance and advocate for high-quality inputs to large and small-scale millers, actions aimed at motivating stakeholders to comply with the national fortification regulations.
In wheat flour, 51% to 70% compliance. Incredible. Again, 39 million Kenyans benefiting.
What can I do within internally? What can I do? And it's not only about fortification, it's also about aflatoxins. It's about providing a fully compliant nutritional product on the shelf. So for us, we see it as a huge opportunity for Kenya.
The program comes at a time when supply chain disruptions, high food prices are changing consumption habits and therefore making it necessary to align fortification efforts to ensure access to nutrition by consumers. Caroline Jenga, Full Prime Edition.
Now, today is the 14th of the month, and this day we normally expect the Energy, Petroleum and Regulatory Authority to release new prices, new fuel prices, or whether they are maintaining or increasing them or reducing them, but they are yet to be released. We are still waiting for that report. Remember, the current prices expire at midnight, so we shall be keeping tabs on that and bring you that report once they release it. Now, a section of people with disabilities in Baringo County are decrying what they term as unfair nomination of members into the county assembly and now want the National Council of People Living with Disabilities to intervene and ensure fairness prevails. Meanwhile, Diana Chepkemoi, the young lady who was rescued in Saudi Arabia 7 days ago, has enrolled in university courtesy of well-wishers. Trevor Ngendo with these and other stories in our county roundup.
We start in Baringo County, where the Council of People Living with Disabilities has lamented over what they term as being sidelined in the nomination of members of the County Assembly. A section of people with disabilities camped at the County Assembly, where they demanded the halting of swearing-in of MCAs slated for next week until they are included.
Hao watu wa Baringo hawakufanya haki kweli. Tulikuwa na walemavu wenye walikuwa wameapply kila kitu. Na kwa hiyo karatasi waliapply hata karatasi ilikuwa imeandika mtu mlemavu na ilikuwa, lakini sasa hii wametunyanyasa. Naomba Mheshimiwa Rais, maliza hao kateli zenye ulikuwa umesema, kwa sababu kateli wanatumia pesa kutunyanyasa.
Lakini hatutafurahia kama tutapata unyanyasaji kama hii. Tutauliza ni nani basi atatusaidia?
Hii Baringo imekuwa shida kwa sababu every time wanafanya wanafanya recycling. Kuna watu wamenominatiwa mara 2, mara 3 na wanarudia. Sisi walemavu tunafungiwa nje.
Elsewhere, the Office of National Mufti of Republic of Kenya has lauded President William Ruto for returning port operations to Mombasa. The appointment of 6 judges to the Court of Appeal and Environment and Land Court, among other crucial decisions.
Wana Mombasa, wana pwani na Wakenya wote leo wameamka na furaha nyingi kwa kuona poti inarudishwa Mombasa. Mojawapo maahadi zake tendakazi ya poti kurudishwa Mombasa, kuajiriwa na kuapishwa kwa majaji 6, kuibinafsisha matumizi ya fedha ya idara ya polisi kuwa chini ya inspekta mkuu wa polisi. Tuwaombe Waislamu wote waiunge mkono serikali hii kikamilifu kwa minajili ya kusonga mbele kama Wakenya, kwa minajili ya kusonga mbele kwa maendeleo na ufanisi kama Wakenya.
This, even as a section of investors in Naivasha say the move to relocate the port operations to Mombasa will cause loss of business worth millions of shillings.
Hatujafurahia sana, manake ICT ilikuwa ikiwa hapa, tulikuwa tunaenda kupata ajira kama sisi vijana. Kuna wale wanabiashara wadogo walikuwa wanapata kitu kidogo kupitia ICT hapa Naivasha na hapa Maimai. Sasa Mheshimiwa Rais kusema inarudishwa Mombasa, hakutuelekeza mwelekezo kamili ni ipi ambaye anaenda kutuletea hapa kama Maimayu yenye inaenda kutuletea ajira. Tulikuwa tunakuomba sasa, kama venye umerudisha Mombasa, sisi vijana wa hapa ama wakazi wa hapa kwa ujumla, unatuletea mwelekeo muupi ambayo utatuambia kwamba ndio nimerudisha Mombasa, lakini nyinyi nitakuja na mradi fulani ambao utawasaidia.
Maimahiu member of County Assembly Eliud Kamau, however, defended the move, saying it will be beneficial in the long term.
Ataleta leather industry, textile industry hapa kwetu Maimahiu. Kwa hivyo tuna matarajio makubwa. Ningeomba watu wa Maimahiu watulie, tugoje tuone serikali mpya itakuja na nini. Hizo industry ambao wamesema zitakuja hapa, tutazigoja. Najua zitakuwa kwa faida kwetu, kwa sababu kila serikali najua inakuja na mpango wake, na tunajua mpango wa rais ni mzuri kwetu. Kwa hivyo sisi kama wakaji wa Maimahiu tunangojea tuone hizo industries zitakuja, kwa sababu hii ni serikali mpya na kila rais akikuja anakuja na mpango wake na jinsi anavyofanya kazi.
And in Meru, 24-year-old Diana Chepkemoi, who returned to Kenya after 15 months in Saudi Arabia, has returned to school after well-wishers offered to pay her school fees. Chepkemoi has enrolled at Meru University of Science and Technology.
This is just an example of so many other young girls who are going through so much so many problems in their upbringing. So we request people of goodwill to come and help other Dianas who are in the society.
I want my story to be the voice of the voiceless. There are so many people suffering. There are so many girls out there who don't have the voice. And since God has blessed my voice to be heard, my story to be heard, my story has touched so many. I want through my story, other people get help.
Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Well, it's such good news that Diana Chepkemoi there has gotten to go back to school after being saved from Saudi Arabia. That's it from the business desk and a bit of the local news. My colleagues joining me, what do you think?
Very interesting one. The only thing you didn't tell us is, obviously, if by midnight there's no review of those prices, because you see the ones that exist end up midnight.
Yes.
So what happens tomorrow if we don't have a review from EPRA?
That will be a first. They have not
done
failed
that
before.
Okay.
So we will see how that goes.
3 hours, we shall be counting. Yeah.
On my way to work, the petrol stations the lines were already crazy, so I don't know how it will be.
I think we are all anxious. We do not want a situation we witnessed earlier in the year when there was that artificial fuel shortage that pitted the government vis-a-vis oil marketers and such. No one wants to be in that situation. So for you, with this conversation, everyone is ever looking at their phones, looking for the updates so that they can fill up. So it hasn't come by 5 p.m. We are almost at 11 if you look at it this way. You need to fill up and wait and see. As you said, it's not a situation we found ourselves, but I'm sure.
Because I understand some petrol stations around Nairobi, for example, don't have fuel. What is the possibility then that hoarding has already started?
It has already hoarding is already. It actually happens every day on the 14th. Yes, they wait to see if it goes up. That's where you hear. When there was that fuel shortage, there was a conversation that stock Kenya ilikuwa ya bei ingine iliisha. You know?
Karen, what do you have for us on the spot today?
So stay tuned, because my colleague Betty Kiptum will keep you updated. Exactly the time the prices will be reviewed, she'll keep you up to speed with the latest prices. But don't go too far, because after this short break, I'll be coming back with the sports news. There are a lot of fixtures on the cards tonight for the Champions League, so don't go too far. I'll be back, and stay tuned. My colleague Betty Kiptum will definitely keep you up to speed with the fuel prices.
Walimu na wanafunzi mpo. KBC Channel 1 inakutoa darasani na kukuleta jukwani ili upate kuaminika.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Tayari kuwakariria shairi kwa kichwa.
Kuelimika.
Udhui gani ya lugha yanayojitokeza katika kauli hii ukirejelea mataifa mengi barani Afrika?
Na kisha uburudike.
Moja ni fahari yetu, baba, kina mama na watoto.
Sauti za njiwa tamu sana.
Sanaa ya Kiswahili, elimu na maarifa bila mipaka, kila Jumapili saa 7:30 papa hapa KBC Channel 1.
Thank you for keeping it KBC Prime Edition. My name is Karen Kibet. Let's now shift focus to matters sports. The national cycling team will take part in the 2022 World Cycling Championship, set to be held between the 18th and 25th of this month in the Wollongong, Australia. Two cyclists, including Nancy Akinyi and Salim Kipkemboi, were selected to fly Kenya's flag at the Global Championships. The Wollongong event also marks the return of international road racing to Australia after after being isolated for the past 2 years due to strict borders closures imposed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over 1,000 cyclists are expected to take part in the event. The Cycling Federation of Kenya is also preparing teams that will take part in the Women's Africa Cycling Championships, set to be held in Burundi between the 18th and 29th of next month. The men's event will be held in Mauritius. Four Kenyan boxers will battle for slots in the finals of the Africa Boxing Championship after booking their tickets to the semi-finals of the continental event in Maputo, Mozambique. Samuel Njau, Nick Okoth, Boniface Maina and Elizabeth Adiego all booked their places in the semi-finals of the championship and will all be in the ring tomorrow. Samuel Njau will fight Ben Banda of Zambia in the featherweight semi-final. Nick Okoth will take to the ring for the lightweight semi-final against Walid Tarzout of Algeria. Boniface Maina, who secured his semi-final place today after beating Mohamed Ahmed of Somalia, will fight against Hamza Babri of Morocco in the light middleweight semi-final, while the only lady, Elizabeth Adiego, will be fighting for a place in the final of the light heavyweight against Muriel Sithole of South Africa.
Serão 30 combates hoje e a seleção nacional vai entrar em cena nesta primeira ronda dos combates, neste caso esta ronda que vai até por volta das 18 horas, altura em que vai começar a segunda ronda. São os atletas moçambicanos, melhor, os pugilistas moçambicanos que entrarão no ringue dentro de instantes. Francisco Abdullah Machel vai também disputar hoje Otávio.
Daniel Kiragu of Muthaiga Golf Club was the overall winner of the 2022 Sir Nick Faldo Kenya Championship. Kiragu won after the second sudden death playoff with Elvis Muigua of Kiambu Golf Club. The playoff was determined after they both scored 228 gross after the 3 rounds of 18 holes each.
Daniel Kiragu won the Nick Faldo Kenya Championship after defeating Elvis Muigua in the playoffs and will play in the grand finale in Abu Dhabi. Other winners that have qualified to play the Sir Nick Faldo Series Grand Finale in Abu Dhabi after topping in their age categories include Chanel Wangari and Chris Shah, both of Vet Lab Sports Club, and Faithon Tune of Golf Park. The 4 qualified to play in the final round after making the cut of the top 48 players. The tournament, which was played at Limuru Golf Club, attracted a total of 62 elite juniors drawn from different clubs across the country. The tournament is a world amateur ranking event that is part of the global Sir Nick Faldo series, which exposes the juniors to a great competition experience and in the long term enhances the development of ardent junior golfers to professional levels. For Channel 1 Sports, this is Eddie Makina.
Thank you, Eddie, for that report. Now, finally, Erling Haaland will lead Manchester City against his former club, BVB, in tonight's Champions League match. A total of 9 matches will be played tonight with Real Madrid, Leipzig, Chelsea, Benfica and Juventus all in action. All those matches begin exactly at 10 p.m. You don't want to miss all the action, so make sure you stay tuned. And tomorrow, same time, same place, I will definitely relay all the results to you in case you fail to watch those matches. That's all we had for you right here at the KBC Sports Desk. I'll still see you tomorrow. Have yourself a peaceful night, but the broadcast is not yet over.